This class in your Healthy Gut course is all about balancing the gut organisms. I'm going to give you an analysis or an analogy first. Think about policemen and criminals. We're not ever going to get rid of all the criminals. It's not possible. What we need are enough policemen to control the criminal behavior, right? So that's the same thing with the organisms in your gut. First, let's define organisms. There are viruses and bacteria and fungus. There are so many organisms that man doesn't even have a name for many of them. Just the bacteria outnumber your human cells 10 to 1. There are organisms on the outside of us and on the inside. The organisms cover everything that separates what is you from what's not you. So on the outside, we have all of your skin. On the inside, from tip to tail, that whole pathway is covered with terrain, gut terrain. And the terrain is teeming with organisms. Now, those organisms their intention is to survive. Many of the things that we think of might be bad, like H. pylori, really have a purpose. Again, what we need is balance. Lots of good guys to control the bad guy's behavior. The H. pylori controls the hormone ghrelin. And if you did something that destroyed all of the H. pylori in your gut, for example, if you took an antibiotic, then your hormone ghrelin would go through the roof. You would be hungry all the time. And that's just one example of the things that we know that those bad guys actually do for us. The Lyme bacteria actually can serve a purpose in the body, in the gut terrain, when it's kept in control. When there's inflammation in the gut, remember, inflammation is caused by stressors, chemical, physical, or emotional stressors. When those stressors cause inflammation in the gut, that is an environment where the bad guys will start to thrive and the good guys will die. And that's when you have a problem. Those bad guys can cause cancer. They can cause extreme inflammation, which can cause autoimmune. It can cause really any kind of condition because of the inflammation. Most of the degenerative conditions that we're suffering from today are caused by inflammation, and that dysbiosis goes along with it. And dysbiosis is another word for out of balance. So with the organisms, we want balance. Lots of good guys, just a little bit of bad guys. Then, so number one, we want the good guys, lots of good guys, but we want balance with good guys and bad guys. Number two, we need to feed those good guys so that they can live and thrive. Typically, we think of fiber supplements. And we do have a couple of supplements that are really good for that. We have FBR, and one that's made by Microbiome Labs is Mega Prebiotic. So fibers are prebiotic. That means feeding the good bacteria. Then for those bacteria supplements, you could get Microbiome Labs Mega Sporebiotic. You could get Systemics MBC. These are completely different. The Mega is spore-based, and the other one is bifido and lacto, and just a completely different kind of bacteria. So you want to switch from one kind to the other. And among spore-biotic products, there are several. This is not the only one. Same thing with MBC. ABC is very similar. There are several probiotics that have similar strains. You want variety from one month to the next. So you want to put the good guys in, more about that in a minute, and you want to feed the good guys. But really, you also need to get rid of the toxins that are causing the inflammation that causes the dysbiosis to begin with. So let's go all the way upstream and remove the cause of the problem instead of working down here and just focusing on symptoms. If all you do is focus on symptoms, it's going to be like trying to swim upstream against a very strong current. You'll feel like you're not able to make progress. But let's think back to that stream when you're swimming. If we can get rid of the current pushing against you, you can swim easier and faster, right? So that's what happens in the body, in our health, when we remove the cause of the problem. We make much better progress. So inflammation will create an environment in the gut where we get dysbiosis. Too many bad guys, not enough good guys. Another thing that happens is when we eat food that has glyphosate in it. Glyphosate is one of the ingredients in Roundup that is a pesticide herbicide. And when we eat food that contains that, it completely disrupts the gut microbiome and it can cause leaky gut, which we talked about in the first video in our class. We talked about the tight junctions. And if you forgot about that, go back and watch that again. That's why we keep all the videos shorter and topical. So where was I? So we were talking about glyphosate. One of the theories that you may have heard is that glyphosate does not damage the human body. The problem is that glyphosate damages the pathway, the cellular communication pathway that the organisms use. There are more messages coming from the organisms in your gut to your brain than the other way around. So the bacteria outnumber us 10 to 1. The virus outnumber the bacteria significantly also. So we have glyphosate and we have the shikimate pathway. Shikimate. The glyphosate destroys the shikimate pathway, which is how those organisms in the gut communicate with each other and with us. That's the problem. And honestly, you can't get rid of all the glyphosate. It is in the air, it's in the soil, it's in the water. So it's going to be in your food, even in your organic food, but there will be significantly less of it. And your protection against glyphosate is ion biome. And you can go to their website and ionbiome.com. You can go to their website and watch a video about how this product closes up tight junctions and protects you from the glyphosate that you get accidentally just by breathing the air and even when you eat organic foods. So the organisms in our gut, we want balance between good and bad. We want an environment where the good guys can thrive and the bad guys will die. We want to go all the way upstream and remove the cause of the problem. And we want to feed those good guys. So one other thing, because supplements are not the only solution. For prebiotics, you get fiber from your fruits and vegetables. For probiotics, this is a little harder. This is something that we typically are not taught. And one of the documents that's in your class, your coursework, is our Balanced Gut Terrain document. And it's a list of all of the foods that you can eat to put good bacteria, good viruses, well, not viruses, but good bacteria into your gut. What you need here is small servings, and you need variety. So 3 things. Number 1, every day, put some good guys in your gut. Number 2, small servings. Number 3, variety. I'm going to read through a few of these because some of them are things that we don't even know, we don't recognize because we never eat them. First of all, sauerkraut. That's not the stuff in the can that you might have grown up with. It is in the refrigerator section in the grocery store. It is a living organism. You can make it yourself easily. A website that I love for that is, I'll come back to that in a minute because I don't see it here. Naturally Living Today is a great website to teach you how to make some of these things. A good book about that is The Funky Kitchen by Sarika Cernahouse. And if you want to see that in writing, just put that in the notes in our group chat and I'll help you with that. So you want a variety of sauerkraut. If you want to make it yourself, you just get your cabbage, cut it up, cover it with water, put some salt, maybe some dill or something like that. Put it out on the counter and let the bacteria that are naturally occurring on the cabbage ferment. It will grow those healthy organisms. So you want raw sauerkraut. I challenge you to try a variety of different flavors. 99% of my clients come to me and they say, I don't like sauerkraut. You know what? I understand. I've been there. So was my family. The one that I find most people like comes in a bag and there are several different brands. Every grocery store has a different brand. If you'll get the one that's dill, if you like dill pickles, you will probably love that sauerkraut. And then after you get used to it, then you can branch out into different ones. I really don't love beets, but the beet sauerkraut is not awful. You can eat it. You can get the carrot sauerkraut. You can get cultured fermented okra, which again, I really don't love boiled okra, but I really do like the cultured okra. You can get red cabbage. That's one of my favorites. It's kind of hard to find in our area in Texas. You could get naturally fermented pickles. Bubby's is the most popular brand. When you look at the ingredients, there will not be vinegar. It will just be the little cucumbers and the water and maybe some salt and maybe some dill and some seasonings. You could get cultured butter to put some good bacteria in you. Organic sour cream. I find that when I get that large carton of organic sour cream, it stays fresh in my refrigerator much longer than that other brand that we grew up with that would spoil really fast. Another thing you want to be careful with things like that is use a clean spoon to serve the sour cream. Don't touch it with your finger and stick it back into the carton. That will add some bad bacteria that throw it out of balance and it will cause mold to grow faster. Same thing with a container of grated cheese. Don't stick your hand in there. You're going to destroy some of those healthy bacteria. You're going to cause dysbiosis in the container and it will mold more quickly. So next in our list is kefir, or you might call it kefir. Whatever you want to call it is fine. It can be made with water or milk. So it is simply a different kind of culture, a different kind of bacteria that is grown in the water or the milk. It's very, very easy to make your own. My favorite brand of starter is Yeemoos, Yeemoos. And you can get their water kefir grains or their milk kefir grains. Either one of those is so easy. You put the grains in with the water or the milk. You put some, with the water, you would need some sugar because you have to feed those bacteria. In the milk, there is already sugar naturally occurring. So the bacteria will eat the sugar, the lactose in the milk to feed the bacteria. And then after it has been cultured, the bacteria have eaten up all the sugar. So you're going to end up with a low sugar, low carb product, even though there was sugar in it to begin with. And with your water kefir, you can even get into fancy flavors. You make your water kefir, you just put your things in there, let it sit on the counter for a day or two. And then you strain the grains out, reuse those into your next batch. With your first batch, you can then add fruit and leave it out on the counter for another day or two. Now, at that point, you really, if you're going to start doing that, you need some directions. So I recommend the Funky Kitchen. Get a variety of kombuchas. Buy a different flavor every week. Don't drink straight out of the bottle because, again, that's going to disrupt the balance of organisms in there because you're going to put some of the bacteria from your lips are going to get on into the jar and it will spoil more quickly. That is the voice of experience speaking. So a variety of kombucha, a different kind every week. I'll just buy a different bottle and you just want maybe a couple of ounces. Do not drink the whole bottle of kombucha. That will cause dysbiosis. Same thing with your probiotics. If you take the same one for a long time, you will cause dysbiosis. You'll put too many of the same bacteria in your gut. What we need, remember, is lots of good guys to control the bad guys, and we need a variety of those good guys. Raw cheese is a great way to get good bacteria into your body. Raw milk. It's different. Every batch is different because the cow ate different grass today. There was different bacteria in the air and in the water that the cow was consuming every single day. So you get a different kind of healthy bacteria in the raw milk. And remember, in our first course about ancient foods, remember the class that was all about dairy. If you think about food by God for the body by God, God made dairy products, and he made them very easy for us to get access to, actually, and that can be healthy. You could, when you're soaking nuts, you could soak them in some kind of cultured product. You could get something like some water kefir or some kombucha, and put a little bit in that water while you soak your nuts overnight to soak or sprout your nuts, and that's going to put some good cultures, living cultures in your nuts. Kimchi is a kind of sauerkraut. It is cultured veggies, but it's more spicy. So you just want variety. Every time, I usually have 2 or 3 kinds of sauerkraut in my refrigerator at a time. When I finish one, I buy a completely different one so that I've always got a lot of variety in my refrigerator. Kvass is cultured beet juice or cultured beets. And again, if it has vinegar in it, it is not the right product. The vinegar will not allow the healthy bacteria to grow. You need just a few ingredients, the vegetable and some water, maybe some salt or some seasonings. Raw apple cider vinegar is going to give you, because it's raw and it has the mother in it, look for the one that says the mother. It literally says that on the label. The mother is the starter culture. That is the healthy bacteria that you're getting. Miso is cultured soy. And I know if you're educated, you know that soy is horribly, horribly unhealthy. Most of it in America is genetically modified, and that GMO food has glyphosate in it, which destroys the shikimate pathway, so the good bacteria can't communicate inside your body. So with miso, you have to be sure that you get non-GMO soy. And when soy is cultured and fermented, that is healthy because that makes the nutrients available to your body. Tempeh is another kind of fermented soy. Let me go back to miso though. Miso is really, it's kind of like broth. You buy a very, very thick paste, and then you just put a spoonful of it in a cup of hot water. And it really does taste good, especially in the winter. Natto is another foreign fermented food. It's a umami taste where those taste buds are in a different place on your tongue, and most Americans don't have taste buds that are experienced enough to enjoy natto, but you could try it. Yogurts, lots of variety. Get coconut yogurt today, maybe you get sheep yogurt next time. Then if you buy cow yogurt, buy Stonyfield this week, buy a different brand, maybe get Kelowna the next week, maybe you go to the farm and you buy it, maybe you make it yourself. But the point is lots of variety in your yogurt. Kavita is another kind of cultured beverage. Kavita does make kombucha, but they also make cultured water. Okay, so again, this document is in your classwork. I have in this document also a list of a variety of supplements that you can use to add good bacteria to your body and to feed them. And then some of these preventive things and protective things like ion for gut health. So, super quick summary. Toxins cause inflammation that creates an environment in the gut that will allow the bad guys to thrive, and it will destroy good guys. What we need with the organisms in the gut is a lot of good guys and just a few of the bad guys. Enough good guys to control the bad guys' behavior so they don't behave badly. And if you have questions, I hope you've been making some notes all through this class. Put your questions in the group chat. And if you're having a question, other people have had that question, you could search in the chat and see if someone else has already asked that question so that you can get your answer immediately. But for sure, ask us those questions because we are here for you, and that's one of our purposes, is community. I'm proud of you for investing your time, learning how to create a healthy gut, because that is the foundation of everything in your body. Just like the foundation of your house, it's the first thing you work on in the house, and it affects all of the walls. Good job.